Hello, changemakers. I'm talking to you, the powerful coaches and course creators. Welcome, welcome. Get ready for another high voltage episode of Expertology Live. We are here to supercharge your day. Brace yourselves for our next guest, the phenomenal Danny Walsh. This episode promises to be a mind blowing experience you'll never forget. Now, who's Danny Walsh? With an impressive track record spanning over 2 decades, Danny's a seasoned veteran who has crafted hundreds of powerful funnels for himself and his high profile clients, generating millions in sales. Currently, giving away amazing value 3 times a week on his live shows, working on a top secret project with ClickFunnels, and guiding a handful of selected clients towards their business goals. Find out what Danny Watch is up to this week and gain valuable insight into the world of internet marketing, funnels, and AI. Welcome, Danny.
Hey, buddy. Thanks so much for having me on the show. That was an amazing introduction, and I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. Super excited to talk to you about everything. I know that you're doing a lot of awesome, wonderful stuff with funnels, click funnels, and all the business things that you're doing. So awesome job. I'm super excited for this episode.
Yeah, well, let's get into it, boss. And I appreciate you 100%.
100%. Yes, awesome, Danny. So, most of us in the ClickFunnels community know about you, the things that you're doing, the awesome, wonderful things that you're doing. So, for some of us who does not know a lot about you, can you share a little bit of your backstory and how this started and how 20 years,
It's a long story over 20 years. All that time ago, we wanted to kind of set out and make music, and I had a bunch of friends, and we realized that we needed a website and kind of had to figure out how to do that. So what I had to do, being the tech guy, is kind of learn this stuff for myself. And we were kind of using Dreamweaver, and we had to get somebody to buy a domain name for us, and then trying to mess around with Flash, and everything was expensive. And this was the day when like Adobe stuff was like Macromedia, right? So it was before the Facebook Live and YouTube and these things. And we kind of evolved from there, and local community centers would sort of come out to us and say, hey, can you come and do some work with the kids in the area with the music stuff? And then the council wanted me to get involved with the strategy, and everything I've kind of done all through this weird and wonderful career from the early days, all the way up until discovering ClickFunnels and doing web design. It's all needed the internet. And fast forward, to now, 20 years in, I wish we had the AI. I wish we had Facebook Live. I wish we had like StreamYard and all of these things that we can use now. It was very, very painful back then to try and even understand this stuff, and where we are right now with things like Instagram and TikTok and all these things, it's just amazing. So it's been a hell of a ride, shall we say, across those years.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, 2 decades. I cannot even imagine. Probably. I started when I was doing HTML, CSS. That was the starting point. And you're saying that you started when there was Dreamweaver, Flash. Even HTML, CSS. I cannot imagine coding a website with it. But
it was horrible. And then we kind of found like WordPress, which was easier. And I did a big bunch of stuff on WordPress, and you might have seen the interviews that I've done with Laura from ClickFunnels and a few other things dotted around, where one day the server kind of broke, and I had all of these clients, and the phone was going crazy, like, where's my website? And my business has gone offline, and it's your fault. And I'm like, oh man, this is a disaster. That's kind of when I discovered ClickFunnels, that's even like 6-7 years ago now, right? And that's when I was trying to do affiliate marketing for the first time, and things were still all technical and clunky, and you needed code and all these things. And now we're at a point where you can literally ask AI to do this stuff for you. How
exactly
things have changed, and it is super exciting right now.
Yeah, good day to be alive. So who are you working with, Danny, and why?
So I've spent a bunch of time over the years working with different people. Like I said, I had a website business. I had 70 to 100 clients on the go. Weren't making a great deal of money. We was charging monthly fees for hosting and building little sites and kind of finding my feet. Moving forward, I've always had my crazy projects or music or fishing or some stuff that I love doing, right? So community work, doing different things like that. And as I've progressed, what I've found is a love for helping people. So I've spoken conferences around the place. I've spoken in Jamaica, which was amazing. There was an event with Les Brown. And I've worked with some really, really amazing people over those years. Around 2017, 18, I'd been doing so much and the diary was sort of slammed and I couldn't settle down for more than 2 minutes without the phone going off or whatever it was. And I sort of been around the world helping people build the funnels, and I was becoming a little bit burned. I was burning the candle at both ends, and we made a decision to actually kind of go back to school and build an e-commerce business using the skills. And I took a break for quite a while, and it's only recently, I've still had a few clients, but it's only recently that I've started to ramp up the clients and the projects. But this time I've kind of learned my lesson, right? So coming back at it and working with some very select people. And you mentioned also the project with ClickFunnels. So right now I'm working with the guys at ClickFunnels on their ambassador program, which is like the coolest thing ever, right? And it's an honor to do that. And I can tell you more about that in a second. I'm also running my weekly live sessions where I'm kind of teaching how we built this fishing business from absolutely zero, using simple funnels, building a community, focusing on the people. And we did over $3 million, right, in this process, selling e-commerce products. I'm literally teaching that live 3 times a week. We've done 13 episodes now, and we've brought that down. You don't even need to opt in. You can just go and you can see this stuff and do it. And then a couple of very select clients that mean the world to me that I've been working with on and off over the years. They've got some fantastic projects. We're doing some amazing things, but I'm not going out there and trying to actively recruit 50 clients. It's you'll hear me say that it's not about the money, it's about the people. And when you work with the right people and the right organizations, you don't need to overstretch yourself. The money will naturally come and things take care of themselves. But it's the fulfillment from working and being able to actually over-deliver for these people rather than under-deliver for a lot of people. That's very important to me. And I'm working with, there's vacancies, there's room for 1 or 2 more, but I'm never going to overload myself. And I'm only working with the things that mean the most to me right now. And that is the live streams and just teach the masses. ClickFunnels, which there's work that I'm just loving that work right now, and so many lives are going to change through the things that these guys are doing. They've certainly changed my life and those 2-3 very select clients. So exciting times, and able to sort of live the life that I want to live as well. Does that kind of make sense, Alex?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this is awesome. For funnel builders, it's a dream come true to be associated with ClickFunnels, Russell Brunson, and the entire team in some way, shape, or form. I think you're living the dream. Most funnel builders like myself will be jealous. But you have a lot of experience, you have a lot of knowledge, skills, and the results that you've obtained over the years. It's amazing. And we as funnel builders have a lot of reasons to be associated with ClickFunnels. But for a person who has 2 decades of experience and generated millions in sales, what's your why? Why are you associated with ClickFunnels?
I think the big thing for me is more than the money. Like I say, it's about the people. But in ClickFunnels, the one thing that's always kept me in ClickFunnels and always, not just that the software is awesome and the teachings are awesome and Russell and the team are awesome, but the community. And when I sort of, I've never really left, but I've just not paid it as much attention as what I would have done, 5 years ago, as everything was ClickFunnels and every client was using ClickFunnels. because I've built my own business using that, and we was using e-com software as well, and we were kind of going down that journey. I was managing my own group and working around that. When I kind of came back to the ClickFunnels community, so like, hey, I'm back, it was kind of like different. And I noticed immediately, because my inbox started to light up with, hey, I've got this crazy thing to offer you, or some spam stuff going on. And I start to receive these spam messages, and I'm thinking, oh man, what's going on here? And I noticed that a lot of the old guard, the people who I knew and sort of grew with, they weren't contributing anymore. And this kind of got me going crazy. And I thought, well, is there actually anything I can do to make this not what it was, because we can't go back, but what it potentially should be, not just for me, but for the people who actually live and breathe ClickFunnels like I do. And I made some calls and I reached out and I got some attention, and we had a conversation, and that conversation kind of kick-started what is now part of the ClickFunnels Ambassador program, which has literally just started to emerge in the group. But it's not just that. There are so many different things going on in there right now to bolster that community and eliminate that spam element, and give the users of ClickFunnels, the people who are trusting in the system, the right community that can help them without being spammed and all of this stuff. So the one focus, it should be ClickFunnels, right? And that means a lot to me. And seeing that community grow, and certainly seeing my ideas and being on, Funnel Hacker TV and all these things. Yes, it is a dream. But like I spoke about in the conference in Jamaica, and we did the thing with Les Brown, where Russell Brunson will say you're one funnel away. I kind of tweak that a little bit to you one conversation away. And it's very important to have those conversations, because sometimes you might be the catalyst or the mechanism that another person actually needs. And when you sort of like think, oh man, I could really help that guy, and you write a message and then you delete it because you think, oh, maybe it's cheeky, or I shouldn't send that, or it's not my place. You need to send those kind of messages if they're positive and helpful, because you don't know who might actually need you at that time. You see where I'm going with that? So
I
think there's something much bigger than me guiding this thing, and it's an effort and the team coming together. It's amazing. And for me, getting that community doing more with ClickFunnels would just be the icing on the cake, really. And it's really, really, really is a great opportunity.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really noble cause that you're working on. The reason that I was attracted, and many of us were attracted towards ClickFunnels, was the community that Russell Brunson has built. And, I think you're doing a wonderful job in, getting it to where it needs to be. I think, all the best with that. I think you're doing a wonderful job for the community, and serving the community is the biggest thing that anyone could do. So all the best for that. And Danny, so you also mentioned that you're doing something with AI, and when we talk about AI, people are always afraid. Like, is it going to be is it going to come after my job? Is it going to come after us? Things like that. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think I've just spoke at a conference that a lady called Polly Powell has just put on, called Ride the AI Wave. And that's been amazing over the last 3 days. And last night I was fortunate enough to be on the question and answer panel. And this question came up there as well. And it is a question that is very important right now, because people do honestly believe that AI can potentially take their job. And if you go back to the time when we were setting up the music business and starting to figure out websites, there were a lot of people around that time who thought that websites were going to take the job, right? And it always seems that there's always going to be a job for someone, and it's up to that someone to put themselves, have the conversations, ask the questions. You see how it all kinds of goes together? And undoubtedly, some jobs are going to disappear, but the people are not going to disappear.
Exactly.
It's how those people adapt. And for example, one chap on there last night was saying, well, if you can learn how to prompt AI and actually work with it rather than be afraid of it, which is, I wholeheartedly endorse, then there's no reason that you should be afraid. You should be jumping for joy, because what would take you weeks and months to do normally, you can now do in hours, minutes, seconds, right? And if you
Exactly.
can embrace this and prompt this, you could sell that as a service and actually get paid more. Does that kind of make sense? And there's so many people doing so many amazing things with it right now. Undoubtedly, in the communities, we're still going to get people pounding the DM, and they're not getting any leads out of that, right? They're going in there, they're sending a million DMs, and they're lucky if they have one conversation. People think it's spam. You're going to have the people who are like, "Oh, AI's taking my job, and I'm doomed," and they go and cry for weeks and months. There's going to be the naysayers, there's going to be the haters, there's going to be all these folks out there. And if you look at it from like a strategic perspective, it's not actually about the technicality or whether it's a job or whatever it is. It's about the mindset. And the people with the right mindset, they can do anything. It's kind of like the half full, half empty analogy. And you're always going to get people who complain and moan and do that sort of stuff. Can we help these folks? Maybe we can motivate them, educate them, change their mindset. But there are also an increasing number of people who are so positive and so energized by this that they know the possibilities are there. They're going to go out, have the conversations, ask the questions, try this stuff, test this stuff. So a lot of this stuff is free. What is the real thing stopping people? What is the real thing causing them to lose their job? It's not AI. It's themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a crazy notion right now when we've got so many things available online that you could actually use to make a living, support your family, have some fun, build a company, whatever it is.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. So, Danny, you were talking about spam, right? People spamming people. Since you are associated with the ClickFunnels community for a long, what do you think about people spamming groups with using AI? There's like a ton of content that's, not authentic. What do you think about that?
I think there's a place for it if you kind of edit it, because the issue arises when, say I could go in a group, right? And I don't know anything about anything. And somebody asks a really complicated question and I copy that question into ChatGPT or whatever it is. It gives me a really detailed answer. I don't know whether that's right or wrong, but I just go, yeah, looks good. Copy that back out, paste it. If this chap then says, "Hey, Danny, that's amazing. Can I work with you?" Well, yeah, give me money. And this guy sends me money. At which point does that fall down? Because you can't keep going to an AI bot to learn or get experience. You can only copy and paste what it gives you, right? So anybody that's relying on that to get clients or charge people money, they are actually in a dangerous place. Does that kind of make sense?
Yep.
Because if you don't have the experience to reinforce that, it's kind of like saying, "Hey, I'll come and work on the surgical ward at the hospital. I've read this like textbook, and I can remember what's on that page. But what happens when you go off that page? You kind of need the experience." And I think from an administrator point of view, not just in that group, but in other groups that I manage as well, you can see this stuff and you can see the folks' responses to this stuff. Use it, but use it wisely and use it with, I think, to complement your experience rather than just as you just paste this thing and somebody's going to pay me. That's not going to happen. People are going to see through it. And if you're daft enough to go there, let's go and get some stuff from ChatGPT and start commenting on things that we really don't understand. How long is that going to last? It can't last too long, right?
Exactly.
It really can't. So good luck with that. Admin and moderators are more than aware of this stuff across the board in all sorts of different groups. You only need to look in the actual ChatGPT groups, how they've structured the rules, how they've built their communities. Because people are like, hey, ChatGPT, tell me a joke about cats. Or getting it to tell, like, jailbreak it and be swearing or doing negative stuff. And then trying to put it in these groups. And these guys are like, look, this is not why we're here. And they're just shutting this thing out. I think across the board, no matter which group it is, moderators are probably removing between 50 and 90% of the incoming posts that are on post approval. And that's an indicator of the kind of quality of content that people are putting out. It's only that small percentage that makes it through. And I guess that's true for your newfound expertise, right? If you're just going to rely on an AI chatbot for the rest of your life, either that really needs to improve or, you're toast.
Yeah, that's wonderfully said. So this trend has, increased a lot of work for you guys, the admins, the moderators. But as a community as a whole, I think people are now understanding the difference between human written and AI written content. So I think we are in a good spot. We are moving towards a good spot, and people like you are helping us to progress in that direction. So that's amazing. So Danny, you have a lot of experience. 20 years of experience. We've talked about a lot of things like spamming, things like that. What is your biggest mistake in this 20 years journey?
Mistake wise, I think I've made a few, and there's technology mistakes, like when your server breaks down and you don't know how to fix it because it's never happened before, and you say the wrong things to customers and you lose them. But I think there's also human mistakes, and a big thing you've got to kind of hold your hand up to is saying that you will do things and then not following through with them. And I've learned the hard way with that stuff, especially when I was younger, taking on too much, trying to please everybody, and like, oh man, and now I need to sleep, or now I need to do something for somebody else, and not being able to fulfill every obligation. There's only so many plates that you can spin, and when you start dropping those, you need to really take time to focus on what's important. But again, kind of like what we've just said about experience, you'll never have that experience if you don't make mistakes. And I've made a ton of mistakes, right? If you've not made mistakes, you're not learning. You're not, like, people would say, Danny, how do you know what to press on the computer or on the web design thing? Because I've pressed it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I've gone on to this thing and I've gone, what does this do? Not knowing what the consequence of that would do, but I've done it anyway. And then it's either had a good result or a bad result. And I've kind of learned from that very, very quickly. But unfortunately, if you're taking those gambles with people, that's where it can get real messy. And, you can lose friends, you can lose associates, you can get a bad reputation, people can write things. Of course, everybody gets a hater, people are jealous and that kind of stuff. But if you screw up, meaningful relationships, that's not good. And can you fix them? Maybe you can't. Should you fix them? Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. But it's very, very important, I think, to be super mindful about what your presses and the consequences they will have on people actually mean. And it's the old, think before you act, but it's very difficult to foresee things. So you've kind of got to get that balance between what does this do, or what will happen if I do that, or what will happen if I don't do that, is probably a very important question. Just kind of thinking as we're talking right now, if you're thinking to not do something or change something or cancel something or not show up to something, maybe, you can't be bothered and you're tired or whatever it is, you need to stop and actively think, if I don't do this, what is the repercussion for other people who might be relying on me? And I think if I'd have asked that question sooner rather than later in my life and my career, I would have made less mistakes. And if that can help even one person to go out there and show up, do the honest best. And if they don't have the skills and knowledge, ask for help. And if they don't have the experience, don't take on the work. Do you see, like, how I guess you'll only learn that when it's too late? But if somebody can listen to this and go, oh man, tomorrow I was going to cancel that meeting, or tomorrow I was going to swerve this thing and then do that thing, you don't want to do that. You want to stick to the path that you've agreed, because your word is everything. And sometimes you can go the wrong way with that, and you can cause problems, not just for yourself, but for other people. And folks who might not have that experience listening to this and kind of take heed from that message that you are only as good as your word. So don't overcommit to things, and only commit to the things what you could actually do.
Exactly.
It's really, really important. And look, we see it all day long. I'm Chat GPT, right? I'm a funnel expert with 4 years of experience, and I can do all of this stuff. Some person has put their entire life savings into building that funnel or that website, and that is their life. That is their business. I once lost a client by saying, hey, something about her products, and called it her stuff. And she was like, that stuff is my life. And I'm like, oh crap, she's put the phone down on me, because I referred to that as stuff. To her, it was everything. And you've really got to understand that what people are doing here is investing their money, their time, their time away from their family to build this thing for their reasons. And if you go in there and say, hey, I can do all of this and it's going to be amazing, and you build them right up and you don't deliver, there's a chance that these folks could lose everything. And that's it's not a pleasurable place to be in, any way, shape, or form. So don't make those mistakes. Learn.
I love it how you started with the technical, and then went on to personal, and then you came back to technical, and you talked about others' mistakes. It's very well said, and there is so much of learnings from you. And I think this one answer was beautifully said. So Danny, when we talk about people building funnels, working online, with your 20 years of experience, how is it in 2023, and can you really say that people can be successful when they're starting now, rather than when they started 10 years ago or 20 years ago?
Without a doubt, because now you've got the learning. There's free books. You can get the .com secrets, the expert secrets from Russell Brunson. This is not some kind of gimmick. This is really a free book, or you pay the shipping, right? So you're going to get this thing. Yeah, he's going to try and sell you some other stuff, but you kind of need that other stuff, right? If you just centered your business around helping people with ClickFunnels, there are enough folks in this world using it or about to start using it for you to build a business. And what you need to focus on is being a master of one funnel. You try and, hey, I do webinars, I do sales funnels, I do, free plus shipping funnels, I do all these different funnels. Chances are you're not going to have the experience. And I've centered a big bunch of stuff around simple things, right? Opt-in, lead generation, fish balls, where people win some stuff, they join your group, and then from there you can make small offers at strategic points through time. People have got the biggest opportunity ever if they harness the AI. If they really look, this thing will write code, it'll do your shopping list for you, it'll do everything in between. You need to pick the bits that matter. You need a simple software like ClickFunnels that you can use to build simple things. Opt-in page, put somebody's video on there, put the headline on there. It's more about the process and the journey from A to B for the customer. Because look, nobody wakes up in the morning thinking, hey, I want to go and spend 6 hours today trying to figure out this really complicated process to solve my problem. Nobody wakes up and thinks that, right? That's a bad day. It's like, oh man, I need to go and buy some stuff online. Well, if you go to Amazon, they've invested millions, billions in making that process as painless as possible. You go on there, you type it in, the thing comes up, you press buy now, and that charges your card before you've accidentally, who's ever ordered something by accident from Amazon and you're like, oh man, I didn't even want that. It's so simple. And then the guys outside with the box, in some cases, in like an hour. And you're like, how is that even possible? Right? So if you're thinking about building funnels for clients and you're going to do, hey, we've got a sales page and then we're going to have a 27 offer and a 47 offer and then a 67 thing. And then we're going to send them to Calendly and then they're going to go and buy this thing. And then we're going to nurture them for 17 years on an email sequence. People are just going to go to like Amazon and buy it because we're simple. And the big companies, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, they've made their processes so simple. If you add AI to that mix, it's even simpler, right? You can talk to your phone, you can talk to Alexa, you can talk to any of these gizmos and devices. I even saw a little robot that kind of runs around your house and prompt you, remind you, hey, it's time to take your medication. You know, hey, you're not watching your child. You know, the dog's run away again, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
All these things with AI. But what we're actually doing in this business is not complicating things. We're supposed to be simplifying things. And the funnel isn't just a bunch of pages inside of some editor. It's the journey from A to B for the person. And when you realize that, you become a lot more powerful and a lot more able to fulfill what it is exactly that you're doing for your customer. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So yes, it's the best time to do this. There's an abundance of people who want to do this, but if you shift your thinking a little bit, you can very quickly solve some problems, demystify this thing, make it super simple, and actually help some folks. Because nobody wants you to like pay you to complicate things. What are they going to do that for? Because I want to simplify it, right? And if we can get their customer to give them money or join their program sooner, that's got to be better for everybody, right? But I guess some folks just love complicated things. It's crazy.
Yeah. Awesome, Danny. Yeah. So if someone's starting right now, what do you think is the the three principles that they should follow to be successful in 2023?
It's the same principles that you followed in 2004, right? It's like dead simple. Technology has to work. You've got to put the right offer in front of the right people, and you've got to work on building and maintaining your relationship. And you can't do the second two without the technology. So if you're going to build that really complicated, endless thing, and I've got the We Are Not Confusionsoft t-shirt on, and that was the point of that t-shirt from sort of like back in 2017, that these guys have created a software so complex that nobody could actually use it. And what ClickFunnels did is they came in and just like made everything super simple. If your technology works and it's simple, Amazon's simple, Google's simple, right? That's a lot of investment's gone into making these things simple. It's online, it works, and it does what it should do and nothing more. Then you don't need to worry about that anymore. What you need to worry about is using that technology to put the right offer in front of the right people. Because if we want to sell these microphones, it's like musicians, marketers, podcast people. A guy going out there playing football doesn't need this microphone. Does that make sense? And there's so many folks selling meat to vegans, and they're spending money on selling a meat product to somebody who doesn't eat meat, or vice versa. your market research and your ability to use technology as a tool to position your message in front of the right audience is crucial. And that is why, this is why you see me on like marketing talks and shows like this, right? There's no point me going and talking on something that's totally irrelevant, but a lot of people do that. And once you get that tech right, that works. Hey, the video thing works. You're not sat here now worried about this video thing. It's on. We're live. You've got a few buttons to press. It's dead simple. You can make things appear or disappear. You can press start. You can press stop. And it streams on Facebook and does a bunch of stuff, right? It does that for you. You don't have to worry about that. What you need to worry about is the messaging, the questions, the story, the things that we're delivering right now, so that your audience, the right people, can absorb that information. And then if you get that bit right, well, you can move on to the third principle, right? You can build and maintain a relationship with the right people. And guess what happens? Chances are they come back. They keep coming back. Because nobody wants to spend a big bunch of money to send somebody to some irrelevant, over-technical, complicated thing for them to either disappear or see it and never come back, or buy once and have a terrible experience and never come back. Because if you keep doing that, you're going out of business fast. Yeah. And I don't know what other principles there are in this process, but so many people are trying to put a message with the technology working, and so many people are trying to build a relationship with folks when they've not positioned their offer right. It doesn't make sense. And I'm all about thinking, what is the next logical thing? And it took a while, but when that kind of sunk in, it just made things so much easier. Your technology works. You put the right offer in front of the right people, and then you work on those people to build and maintain a relationship. If you do that, I don't know. What else is there? Maybe, you should have some financial system in place so you can report your taxes and all of that stuff. That kind of fits under technology. What else? I don't know what else there is. And I think there's enough there for anybody to be working on. And if they work on those three things, dead simple, they should be able to move forward.
Awesome. So, Danny, one follow-up question on that. When we compare, 20 years ago to now, people always say that consistency is key, and you have to be patient still. You build that relationship. You get that momentum going on. How is it different from 20 years ago and today? Is it the same, or nowadays with all the competition and everything, has that increased?
I think consistency is one of the reasons. If you're not consistent, you make mistakes, you lose, you undoing the work that you've done. You can't build a relationship with somebody if you're not consistent. You're probably not going to hammer home that message on enough times to put that offer in front of the right people if you're not consistent. And if you don't follow through with your tech, and you don't, do that video, and you don't, speak to that developer or whatever you need to do, that lack of consistency at that point, all of those things fall down. So you've got to be consistent. But even though technology's changed, human nature hasn't. Human nature's taken years to evolve, right? Not just 10 years or 100 years or 1,000. It's taken a long time to get to this point. And human nature and instinct and psychology, they haven't changed too much, right? So if you're consistent and you apply those principles, then you will see success. But you've all kind of seen the little meme where there's the guy and he's kind of hammering away looking for the diamonds, and he gives up like that far away from the diamonds and the gold, and he turns back. If he consistently hammered away at that thing, he would make it. But there's a thing in the old book, right? Think and Grow Rich. And in there, it talks about faith and that belief that you are going to make it. If that kind of makes sense. So you've kind of got to balance the consistency with the faith, with some solid principles. But you don't need to overcomplicate this stuff. And you need to keep going. There's so many people that give up or indeed don't even start It's heartbreaking, and very often that correlates directly to the same group of people who are sat there now saying ChatGPT is going to take everybody's job, that something's a scam, that something's never going to work, that the glass is half empty. That seems to have a correlation around it, and that's like that mindset thing we discussed earlier. So trying to break away from that, be consistent, get started, get moving, keep it simple. At some point, it will tip in your favor. But one thing, Alex, that they don't really mention in a lot of trainings that's very, very, very apparent, and only a few people mention this, is that time is such an important factor in all of this, because I think folks, especially with funnels, they expect somebody to see their ad, go to the page, opt in, download the thing, go on the next step, give them the money, and then become the client in like 10 minutes. That might take 10 weeks.
Yes, exactly.
If you're not consistent in your mailing and your messaging and your emails or your videos or whatever it is that you do, you're never going to complete that process, because time is moving. The people need time to read this stuff, to download this stuff. And you're super excited living in this moment thinking, all I do is marketing. Other people are like walking the dog. They finished at 5. They don't worry about this till next week. They only spend an hour a week on this stuff. And if you don't allow the time and be consistent throughout that time, then you're leaving yourself at a big disadvantage. Hopefully that helps some folks, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome, Danny. It was, the entire conversation that we are having right now is awesome. It's been 41 minutes, and I don't know how time flew by. But yeah, thank you so much for, sharing all the valuable nuggets that you did. And Danny, how can folks access your content, and are you available for hire?
Absolutely. Like I said, it's a very select few that I will work with individually, so that I can deliver and I can do the stuff in a timely fashion and stick to all of that stuff that I've just said. I'm not going to take on 50 clients for the sake, right? And I've got some big projects right now that need my attention, but I've also got a family and we've got little kids, and we've deliberately moved away from the fishing and the e-com retail because we've got 2 young kids right now. We've got a little girl who's going to high school. I've got an older teenager who's sort of transitioning into being a young adult, and it's exciting times for the family. So I've got to make sure that I stick to my values and to what's right and what's true. But you can book a call. We can have some time. Might be my team that kind of field that. But I'm actually going live 3 times a week, teaching everything from the beginning. And we'll go into funnels, we'll go into emails, we'll go into AI, we'll do all this stuff. But we started with that fishbowl funnel because that's how we built a business from absolutely nothing, sold a bunch of stuff, built a fantastic community, loyal to those principles. And you don't even need to opt in or download anything. The videos are streamed, they're on there, they're on YouTube, they're on my profile. It's free. It's just dannywalsh.live, and it's Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday every week. I'll do my best to show up every single week. I'm committed to this thing. If we do have any changes, we will edit them accordingly. But between that and the ClickFunnels work and 2 or 3 really important clients, the rest of the time is the important stuff, because you've got to kind of ask, well, why are we doing this?
Exactly.
And it's all well and good running around the world trying to do things for everybody. But in doing that, you leave no time for yourself. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy who needs to try and do everything. There's an ad going around at the moment, and the guy's kind of on there saying, you'll be listening to a podcast on 2 times speed while you're in a LinkedIn thing and you're refreshing something, and and it's like, oh man, that wasn't fun.
Yep.
And it's got to be fun, and you've got to be doing it for the right reasons, and you've got to remind yourself of those reasons. If you can do that and give back to people, then you're doing it right.
That's awesome. That's wonderfully said. Yes, everyone, please check out DannyWalsh.live. Yeah, the website's here. I've listed it here, and I'm going to be linking the website in the comment section, in the first comment, and I'm going to be linking Danny's profile in the comment as well. So do reach out to him. And Danny, this was so awesome, and we had a lot of fun. And do you have any final message for our audience before we leave?
Get started. Don't go back to the stuff that you were doing before. Move forward. Keep moving forward. If you need me, ask, message, find me, whatever. Watch things like this. Support Alex, but don't try and do everything. You can never do everything, and nobody does everything. Ask for help, and don't be spamming in groups with, hey,
That's yes,
PM guy, because that stuff is just done with.
Yeah, exactly. 1 year ago, this wasn't happening, and now it's happening. It's a little bit unfortunate, but that's
I
one
think the
wonderful
thing is somebody's actually teaching that thing, and they're bolstering this and saying, hey, if you do this stuff, you will build a business and build a life, and they're actually steering you away from what's important. Don't be that guy. Stop listening to these people.
Totally. Wonderfully said, Danny. So thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode. And I will be back with another awesome episode and another awesome guest next week. So until then, thank you so much. Have a good one.
Bye.